Hey, Ray Halbrook with Live Stream STL here, just giving you some breaking news. It's just been happening. We've been released some information last night, and I've got on the video chat here. Let me bring him in here. We've got Coach Zach Bone from the Festus 253, Festus American Legion team. How you doing, Coach?
I'm well, Ray. Appreciate you having me on. How are you?
Awesome. So we've got some breaking news,
Good.
and I'm just going to let you go ahead and let the cat out of the bag.
Ray, we sent out an email to parents last night. I think a lot of people saw that Missouri had decided to cancel American Legion baseball for the summer. The National Legion decided to cancel the regionals and World Series out of an abundance of caution. About a month ago, they left it up to the individual states to decide what they would do in terms of having a season. If they want to play up to the state tournament or not. Last week, Missouri decided that they would not be hosting any sort of American Legion baseball or state tournament for the year. So certainly there's a demand out there still, for kids to play summer baseball. And we as coaches, view it as, this is obviously an unprecedented time for a lot of people, for just about all of us, I should say. And we think there's value in a lot of things. And obviously from a developmental standpoint, from kids not missing a season, a full year of baseball with high school having already been canceled, and also with, from just the sense of getting a return to some semblance of normalcy.
Sure.
And, this pandemic has really, disrupted a lot of people's routines, particularly these young kids. So we would love to be able to provide them the opportunity to do something this summer. Having said that, we are going to attempt to play some summer baseball beginning in late June. So currently we understand that the county, both Jefferson and parts of St. Louis County, is my understanding, are under a phased reopening plan. So while some businesses are opening back up and operating at reduced capacity and things of that nature, some of the facilities that we would normally use are not currently accessible. So there are some teams out there, whether they be Legion teams, club teams, whatever it is, that are trying to start right away. I understand that, but I think for us, what we told our people in the program, both players and parents, was that we thought the best course of action was to examine this over the long haul. So for a few different reasons, we targeted June 1st as the day to start practice, and hopefully June 26th is the day to start games. Like I said, there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them being, these kids got about 2.5 weeks of high school baseball practice.
Right.
Certainly there are some off-season activities. Some of them may do those independently. Some of those may do them with their high school team. But the reality is most of these kids haven't played in a baseball game since last July.
Right.
So, frankly, I think it's irresponsible. It would be irresponsible for any coach to jump into, they said we could play, so let's go play 4 games this weekend, or let's roll right out there right away and see how it goes. So, I know some people may be electing to do that this weekend. I won't get into what anyone else is doing, other than we didn't think that was very realistic or responsible as the adults to try and put kids in that situation.
Right.
So, one of the main reasons we felt like is there needs to be an on-ramping period, so to speak. And I think not just for pitchers, but for position players also, to get themselves in game shape, to get themselves physically prepared to play. Normally they would have that high school season to do that. Obviously this year that wasn't the case. So while they have pretty much been off of baseball now, at least organized baseball activities, for going on at least 6 weeks, there certainly needs to be a build-up period in there. So we understand that some kids can take advantage of throwing space at their house. Maybe they have an older or younger brother who can play catch them. Maybe they're lucky enough to have a batting cage at their house, or a tee or a net or whatever it is. But there's also quite a few that don't. And these are strange times we're living in. Like I said, you can't really assume that every kid has access to the same throwing partners, the same spaces, things of that nature. So we think there's certainly an on-ramping time that needs to take place to give these guys a chance to not only be healthy, which our first and foremost concern is always going to be the health and well-being of our players, but also from a performance standpoint. So currently the NCAA is not allowing coaches out on the road to recruit for safety reasons. That won't be lifted until at least July 1 is our understanding. So like I always say to anybody, I think before you worry about exposure, you need to make sure that you have abilities that are worth exposing, a talent level and ability level that will be attractive to college coaches if that's what you want to do and play at the next level. And I think that goes for just about any sport, but certainly baseball. And if you're good enough, you'll get those opportunities. Our job as coaches is to help these guys be good enough to get those opportunities. So we want to make sure they get that time to ramp themselves back up. As they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So we want to make sure that they are as close to full game speed as they can be, that they're healthy, that they feel like they're, have their wits about them, so to speak, when they get back on the field. They feel like they're back in their element a little bit. There's always an adjustment period, I think, early on for kids. So, for us, that was one major factor. We wanted to make sure our guys were both physically and mentally prepared to get back out on the field before we did so. In addition to that, like I said, currently there just aren't a ton of options as far as getting outside or getting into facilities. Currently, my understanding is that any business with fewer than 10,000 square feet of space is to operate at 25% capacity. That obviously affects the indoor facilities in the area.
Sure.
These parks are open. Both city and state parks are open, but many of the common areas, be that playgrounds, baseball fields, whatever it is, are still closed at this moment. So for us, for any team, really, I think it limits your options in this area right now to be able to get out and start to get your guys prepared. We're hoping that those will be lifted at the beginning of June, and obviously that could change. But, the other factor is just making sure we have that space in the facilities we need to get our guys ready.
Sounds good. Hey, that's good news. And I guess one of my questions is what was the response from parents of the players when you sent? I know you guys sent out a survey. What's the response been like?
Well, the overwhelming response rate was that parents wanted their kids to play baseball this summer in some capacity. I think they understood that it's not going to be a typical summer that they're used to. Right. And, it's not a typical, today's not a typical Friday that anyone's used to. It's just things are different right now. They're unusual. This is, I've said unprecedented because I think it's true. And I think parents are hoping that their sons get the opportunity to get back outside. One of the things that I think is, I saw you guys had Levi Ebersalt and Jordan Duncan and Mark Moore and I believe Blake Eisebas. I apologize if I got any of those names wrong.
But all right.
On last night. And, one of the things Levi had said was, he just missed the routine, the sense of normalcy. And I think parents really see that out of their kids. School is important for a multitude of reasons. I think athletics are important for a multitude of reasons. Right. Obviously, the things you learn academically, the skills you learn and develop are important. But the social aspect of it is just as important, and in some cases, maybe even a little bit more so occasionally, because, we're all creatures of habit. Sure. Routine is a good thing. Positive habits are a good thing. As humans, we need that social interaction, and I think we're lucky to live in an era where you and I can communicate over, a video chat here, but it's just not quite the same thing. And I think these kids are hoping to get some sense of normalcy return, some sense of their daily routine. And I think their parents really want that for them as well. Having said that, I think being realistic, I think anyone who's being realistic, you could certainly get inundated with all the, information or misinformation or disinformation or whatever's out there on the news or social media or whatever. So for us, I think it's not a decision that we're going to make individually. We've told the parents that, when the social distancing orders are lifted, when the county health commission, the county executive, the mayor Festus says it's safe for us to go out there, then we'll do so. This is not a unilateral decision, that I'm making or that our coaching staff is making. So, like I said, the health of our players, not just from a baseball standpoint, but also ensuring that they're safe and healthy during a global pandemic is obviously really important to us, and we understand that a lot of these things, hand washing, not drinking after each other, things like that are good ideas, pretty much all the time, but they're certainly really important right now. So, we understand that, there's factors out there. There's really smart people that say, that certain things need to take place in order to have, safe gatherings. And we're certainly committed to observing all those rules and recommendations. So I think, most of the parents, they said, look, we would love our son to play. We just, obviously any reasonable precautions, will be taken by us, and they seem to be fine with that. So, we understand that, everyone is going to prioritize their health and safety and their son's health and safety, everything else. And I would expect nothing less. We feel the same way. We want to give kids a chance to get out on the baseball field if and when it's safe and we're able to do so.
Right. So what is the schedule going to look like? And I guess, have you started, being able to schedule anything with other teams?
Great question. So some of what we're doing is going to be geared towards scheduling the weekend tournaments. Now, we would typically play 3 to 4 tournaments a summer anyway,
Right.
prior to the postseason. So we're going to schedule those as well. Currently, right now, we're looking at playing the last week of June and likely the month of July. No one really knows what fall sports are going to look like currently. Mish's scheduled start date for fall sport practice is August 10th.
Correct.
We will be done before then. We're not going to start, pushing back into football or cross country or soccer season or anything like that. So, we'll be done before then, as our goal, prior to us starting fall ball for those who are going to participate with that. So we're looking to get 3 to 4 tournaments in. We are looking to actually host our own still the weekend of June 26th through the 28th, pandemic and weather permitting here at West City Park. So our goal would be to get 3 to 4 weekend tournaments in. There are a lot of teams out there, whether they be Legion teams, Slava teams, club teams, that have decided that they're going to try to do something this summer. Now, a lot of them are trying to play in the month of June. Like I said, I don't think that's realistic for us, right now. Or realistic, going forward. So for us, we're going to schedule what we can during the week. Ideally, we'd like to get some double headers, both at home, and we're willing to travel and do the things we normally do. Obviously, there's no league games, no District 13 games that we would normally play.
Right.
Last year, I think we played 52 or 53 baseball games. I don't think we're going to get to 52 or 53 this summer, and, rightfully so. It's a very condensed schedule. So, for us, I think it's a matter of, doing the best we can to give our guys a chance to get out there. It's not all about playing games. Everyone loves the competition aspect of it, and I think everyone's certainly missing that with high school baseball being canceled. But by the same token, I think more important than any of that, more important than the competition aspect of it, is the development component. And that's getting guys back out there, getting them in a training environment, having those practices as much as we can. And that's really a priority for us is skill development. It always has been. One of the things I've always talked about is, we never make promises to anybody. We're not going to promise you're going to play shortstop or bat third or pitch the most important games. The 3 things we tell guys, I can promise you is this. We're going to tell you the truth, even if it's not what you want to hear. We're going to push you every single day to be the best you can be, and you will get better for having played in our program. And I think those are 3 things we constantly deliver on, and that's going to be our focus this summer, as always. Is look, we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to push you to be your best, and we're going to train you and help you develop to be the best player you can be. That's going to be our focus, whether it's a game or practice setting. And we're very hopeful and excited about the possibility of hopefully getting outside for some baseball this summer.
Hey, we're looking forward to it. Just kind of looking at the way this kind of plans out. If it stays the way it's going to be, which seems to be like it's going to be a perfect storm in a great way to be able to get your kiddos, in shape. Plenty of reps, plenty of chances to get them in shape, and not push any kind of injuries.
Yeah, I mean, we sure hope so. And again, player health is our first and foremost concern, and that's something that I think is obviously more prevalent now than maybe ever, because it's not just a physical. Maybe baseball is a better word, component of it, athletic component of it. It's the actual health component of it. So, for us, I think there's no reason to push pitch counts or anything of that nature. That's something we're always very cognizant of. Aaron Mayer, who coaches our pitchers, is very aware of workload and what we would call the hidden workload. It's not just did you throw 105 pitches. It's, if you threw 8 the first inning and 6 innings of 5 warm-ups in between, you threw 40 in the bullpen before the game, and you played shortstop the day before and threw 100. I mean, those things will add up, and they tack on throughout the course of the year. So I think we're very cognizant of that, trying to make sure we're tracking workload for guys, trying to make sure that, we're keeping them fresh and healthy, both into the postseason and long term. Acute workload is one thing and chronic workload is another, and we're trying to track both of those things. And this will be no exception. I think there's going to be a very slow on-ramping period this year to get guys back in shape. Like I said, some of them are fortunate to have brothers or cousins or sisters or friends down the neighborhood that they can play catch with, and some of them just aren't. So I think just like every year, it's got to be individualized. Your development plans need to be as individualized as you could realistically make them within a team setting. So I think it's about finding out where these guys are currently, finding out where we need to get them to be. For instance, some of these guys are going to be going into college baseball season, hopefully a college fall season, in late August. So obviously their needs in terms of being, what they need developmentally may be a little different than a kid who's going to be a high school freshman or a high school sophomore next year. It may be, less volume, more precision, in terms of throwing. And for a younger guy, it might be more volume just in terms of throwing in general, more arm strength and things of that nature. So I think it's individualized. It's got to be about what the player needs. And that's going to kind of be our target, is talking to these guys going forward. We plan to get some inter-squad games going. I love the opportunity just to get your guys together in scrimmage, because I think there's a lot of teachable moments in there. You can see all your guys in that setting. So we're going to do some of that throughout the month of June, like I said, God willing. And, we're looking to get ourselves back to some semblance of normalcy for these kids, get them some sort of summer's worth of baseball. We've talked about it before. It's absolutely heartbreaking for this group of seniors, who didn't have the opportunity to finish their high school baseball seasons. It's really disappointing for all of them, because every kid lost a year of eligibility here. Right. It's not just the seniors, it's all of them. So, it's something unprecedented. It's something that's obviously very disappointing for everyone involved. And, there's no postseason this year for American Legion Baseball. There's no World Series. There's nothing at the end of that tunnel, so to speak. But I don't know if that matters, really. I love that aspect of it. I love that time of year. I think the kids do, too. They embrace the competition aspect of it, the chance to compete for something together. But, for us, it's always been about guys getting better, getting them to the point where they have a chance to not only go play at the next level, but be ready to be successful once they get there. So this is, another year where we have that opportunity. It's a little different format, but we're certainly hoping that we're going to get that chance here over the next couple months.
Final question for you. Have you been in contact with very many different teams, and what would that maybe look like? I know you mentioned maybe some Babe Ruth League teams, maybe some Slava teams. What's that going to look like for you guys?
Well, right now, I know that I have a list of 14 teams out of District 10, which encompasses, these are Legion teams, I should say, out of District 10 and District 9, which encompasses St. Louis County and I believe it's Franklin County, okay. The Washington, Missouri, Sullivan area out to the west. I could be wrong about that. Please, no one fact check in real time my Missouri geography here. But anyway, it's basically the St. Louis County on west. That are going to play. I know, as of right now, there's Babe Ruth still plans to host, their state tournament. Talked to Mike Minner out of Charleston, Missouri, who has one of the best Babe Ruth teams in the country every year. They're planning on having theirs. Jackson, Missouri, American Legion's planning on hosting something. I'm talking to Coach Wiley at DeSoto. I believe DeSoto is going to try to do something, St. Genevieve as well. So I think there's a lot of options out there. Now, the question will be, again, matching up when we're trying to play with when other people are trying to play. And we know very well there's a lot of tournaments during the month of July. We're not worried about the weekend aspect of it because we're going to get games in there. But we're going to find, whoever we can to play, during the month of July, midweek, because, like I said, it's about getting some of those games. And if we can't do that, then, we don't expect we're going to play every single day during the week. But on the days we don't, we're going to get our guys out there in an instructional setting, in a competitive setting, and teach them some things as well. So there's a lot up in the air right now, Ray. I would hate to think that, the county government or the county health department may come back at the end of this month and say, well, we need another month of closing everything down. But I'm also realistic enough to know that that's a possibility. So sure. A lot of these decisions are outside of my hands, or outside of our coaching staff's hands, or outside of, in all honesty, they might be outside of anybody's hands. It just kind of, is going to be dictated by what happens over the next 30 days. So we're certainly hoping that some things start to open up. There's some sense of return to normalcy in a safe manner. And if that's the case, we'll be raring to get out there. But like I said, a lot of is out of our hands at this point. We're playing a wait-and-see game with, the officials that will make those decisions. We have no doubt they're going to make decisions based on the best interest of everybody involved. So, certainly wouldn't question that. We're here to follow their instructions and their directives, and we're certainly hoping to get a chance to get our guys in the field this summer.
Perfect. Well, keep your fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything, and we're hoping to bring baseball back to Jefferson County here, and most of these games, probably most of the home games especially, we're going to try to cover for you guys over here at Livestream STL, and maybe some, as you travel and whatnot, whatever we can work out. So we're hoping to be able to get you guys covered and send these kids off, with just a lot better feeling than what they walked into this spring with. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, man. We're certainly looking forward to hopefully getting out there and having you guys out as well.
Absolutely. Well, breaking news here, 253 baseball. Tentatively, we're looking at starting in late June. We'll have more information as we come through the month here, I'm sure. And Zach, we appreciate having you on, and appreciate you stopping by for a quick second. I'm sure we'll catch up with updates from time to time.
Absolutely, Ray. Thanks for having me, man. Be well.
All right. Ray Halbrook here from Livestream STL at Breaking News. Have a great day.